I managed to find a quiet spot on Yeomans for 2 or 3 nights. Welcome to the Journeyman's Tales. It's been a bit of a strange afternoon. It's been trying to dodge the rain. We've had light showers, we've had heavy rain. It's raining again now as soon as I get the camera out. And we've had thunder, we've had lightning. And I finally got settled. I've been walking around. I went round the Unity a bit. That was quite busy. But the far side of Yeomans was empty. So I've moved round opposite where I had been fishing. Spent a little wee while finding an area that I was happy to put some bait out into. I got 3 on the same spot at the moment, but I'm just going to wait and see what's happened. The guy opposite me has had a couple since I've been here, so they're obviously in the vicinity. There were some up on the top when I first got here, but the sun was out then and that seems to have disappeared. The wind is, I don't know, picking up a bit, moving from left to right across the front of me. I'm talking quickly because it's getting wetter and wetter and wetter. Anyway, I'm going to hide back in the bivvy again, and hopefully something will turn up before it gets dark. I'm feeling really good about it actually. Happy with the spots, happy with the bait, happy with everything. Cheers. Well, fortunately the thunder and lightning has stopped. In fact, the sun's come out a bit now. Everything's calmed down. The wind has changed 180 degrees. It's now coming from my right across to the left, but it's only incredibly light. We're just coming into, I don't know what it is, 7 o'clock. And I've just put in another dozen spoms. I put some in when I first got here in the rain. And I think it's about time I gave him a bit of grubbage, so I put another 12 in. We'll see how that goes. I put a few scatterings of squid and orange boilies around the area as well to give them something to home in on. Now the guy, one of the guys fishing opposite is now gone now. He had a couple of fish since I've been here, so they're obviously out, and he's fishing quite long range, so they're obviously out there. Hopefully they'll move on to the bait. They must move on to the bait. Anyway, last week was a bit of an aborted trip really. I went to local syndicate, but that was incredibly busy. So the following day I came up to Oxford, and for one thing and another I lasted one night and I bottled it and went home. But I did do a little bit about the spot I'm using, so I'll show you that now while we're waiting for a run. But talking of spod, as we're moving into the warmer months, I'm starting to thinking about adding some more food to the swim. Now historically I prepare my own spod, but this year I thought I'd take advantage of some of the offers out there and just buy it in. As I fish different waters, the spod mix has to vary according to the rules. Now some waters you can fish whatever you want, some say you can use hemp with just corn or maize, some say you can use anything you want as long as there's no nuts involved, so it's not always a simple mix. But the base of the mix is always hemp, which I've historically always made myself. But if you haven't tried doing it, it's quite a simple process. I tend to soak the hemp for 24 to 48 hours, then boil until the kernel splits and exposes the white inner. Top tip at this stage is to remove the floating seed, as this will only attract bird life when it's floating in the swim. As I said, this year I was going to buy in some prepared hemp and maize mix from one of the major suppliers. But when the 20 kilos of it arrived, there was far too much maize in it for my liking. But that wasn't a major problem. I just have to go back to making my own hemp, adding it to that mix, thus reducing the ratio of the maize to the hemp. Now, if the rules of the water allow, I will prepare some nuts now. It could be peanuts, could be tiger nuts, and they're prepared the same way as the hemp. They soak for 24 hours, 48 hours, and then boiled. Now, I did tend to crush the majority of nuts. I'll add a few whole ones as well, and they're added to the water while it's still hot and sealed in the bucket. Incidentally, I tend to use the Ridge Monkey crusher now to chop up the boilies and the nuts, having burnt through a few KitchenAids in my time. And by the way, if you're not using the nuts, I always bag them up and put them in the freezer just to get them out when I can use them. So having prepared the hemp, I'll add the purchased hemp maize mixed whilst the water is still hot. And then add some hard boilies, some dumbbells, which I tend to make myself, and a few whole boilies. And finally, before sealing the lid and leaving for 24 hours, I'll add a couple of spoonfuls of the newly recommended salt. Now, by the time I get to the lake I'm fishing, the boilies would have soaked in all that goodness out of the juice they've been sitting in for the last 24 hours. And that's a perfect mix, just as it is. But there's always the potential to add that little bit more should you wish to do so. If you want to take it to the next stage, what I tend to do is take a couple of large scoops of the wet mix, shake off as much of the water as you possibly can, put it in a dry bucket. Then I add a couple of scoops of boilie crumb, which I've pre-prepared using the crusher. Give it a good stir, and then you can give it a good dollop of whatever liquid you want to use. I use hemp oil most of the time, but you can use whatever you like. Again, give it a good stir, and that's it, ready for the spawn. Now, what I suggest you do is only mix up enough that you're going to put into the water at any one time, because if you leave that mix too long, the hemp starts to dry out. Then you've got the floating hemp and the bird problem all over again. Just hit 9 o'clock, and the right hand rod ripped off. It's not common. Here we go. How about that? Just after 9 o'clock, right hand rod. 27 pounds, 11 ounces. Now that is a great start to the evening. It's not quite as dark as it looks because of the lights, but I am thrilled with that one. Well steady now. Well pleased with that. Right, and that was on the probate squid and orange. Excellent. Right, couple of spods and get some more. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. That's all 3 rods gone now. It's the middle one. 25 pounds and 3 ounces. Absolutely fantastic. You can see now from what they've left In the sling there's a bit of food. They've obviously been on the munch. Definitely going to put some more spum out when she goes back now. Excellent. Fantastic. Right, let's get a bit of bait in. Well, we're now mid-morning on Tuesday. We had quite a busy night, which made a nice change, it has to be said, with a couple of good fish. A couple of also rounds and a tench thrown in for good measure. And they were passing quite a bit of the spot I've been putting out fairly quickly, whilst they've been in the sling while I've been setting the camera up. So that's obviously paying dividends. I've put in some in the middle of the night after the second big fish, and then I put some out again first thing this morning. It's been a little bit of bubbling and a couple of fish sticking their heads out over the area, but unfortunately no activity since the sun's got up really. But there have been a few moving around on the end of the island, so I've just put a long one over there because nobody else is fishing over there to see what occurs. But it wouldn't be me without another disaster, and I don't know whether they were rats or mice, but they decided to eat through the landing nets last night, which is fantastic. I picked the first one up and I looked at it and I thought, no idea how I've done that, so I put it on one side and put fortunately the backup net to use in first place, as it were, and that is just the same amount of holes in it. So I don't carry a spare. I do carry a load of crap with me, but I don't carry a spare net, so I've had to sort of stitch those together again with a bit of zig line as it happens. I've got a spare one in the house, and I've ordered another one off eBay while I'm sitting there, but wouldn't be the same without a small disaster, would it? Anyway, the wind's picking up a bit, which is a bit nice. It's coming in from the southwest at the moment. At the moment, as I say, the sun's out, but I think we're due for some more rain later on this afternoon. But fingers crossed it kicks off later on. No, not the trees, please. Look at that bloody trees. Oh, no. Sorry, but you're not going in there. Right, just stay up there. Come on. +3, and this incredibly hard fighting common turned up on the right hand rod, 25 pounds and 3 ounces. It's looking a bit dark on the screen, but not enough mess about. Absolutely thrilled with that, and again it's dropping a bit of spod on the mat, and some. A rare shape. Happy days. I think my head's going to get burnt out in this one. Right, back you go, baby. Well, it's coming up to 7 o'clock in the evening now. I haven't had anything since that common this afternoon. So I've refreshed all 3 rods, exactly the same as went out last night. So the left-hand rod is a pop-up squid and orange on a withy rig. The middle rod is a squid and orange wafter with a, the fly drilled out with a bit of cork in it. And the right-hand rod is a bottom bait with a bit of orange corn on it. Now, I had runs on all 3 baits on all 3 rods last night, so I've just put out exactly the same, no preference for either really. I put about half dozen spods over the top just to refresh it a bit after that common, and that's me ready for the night now. Hopefully we'll have a sleepless night like last night, but it's calmed down now. The wind's dropped right off. It's getting a bit brighter behind me now. The sun's going down. The afternoon rain seems to have cleared away. Anyway, I'm looking forward to a good evening. Oh, and there's one just rolled now, just off the baited area. Happy times. Calm yourself, here you go. 9:30 on the middle rod on the wafter, 21 pound 6 ounces. Threw all the bits with that, and it's just beginning to start raining, so we might get this one done before it tips down, which is due to do. Thrilled to bits. and absolutely tore off as well. Shot, well, must have been 3/4 of the way across. Took about a good few minutes to get it back to the swim. Excellent. Right, hope it's in focus, and let's get her back. Well, good morning. It's been a long wet night. It's now about 8 o'clock in the morning and the right hand rod ramped off. They go off about 600 miles an hour, these crazy things. Kite's underneath the trees to my left. Fortunately, came back, I don't know what he is, 16 pounds and I forget. Happy days. Yeah, crazy. And one in the night, which you would have seen. Then I had another one. Oh, I think it was fresh out of kindergarten looking for his mother. And then I had a huge run, but there was nothing on the end of it. And then, just as I was dropping off again, to try and catch up on a bit of kip, this went off. And it felt like sting, but it is a male because it's dropping a bit of milk actually. So I wouldn't be surprised if this place closes up fairly soon. Anyway, pleased we're still doing it and they're still responding to the bait that's going out. So let's get her back. We're coming into the final afternoon. It's been a bit of a strange morning. It's been absolutely blistering hot. Blue skies, no clouds, and then getting the occasional clouds, but I'm getting burnt to a frazzle sitting outside the bivvy. And it's too hot inside the bivvy. But I brought the rods in about 1 o'clock, put a few more spoms out and a few freebies with the stick, and refreshed the rods and put them out again. But this time I've put the left hand rod over and leapfrogged the other two into the new right hand rod, as it were, because the other two rods have been getting most of the action, even if they are aborted runs. I had another one of those in about 4 o'clock this morning. It went off at 90 miles an hour, and then you lean into it, nothing. It can't be a trailer, it's got to be too fast for a trailer. Anyway, I'm going to give it another hour up here out in the cool, and I'm going to have a lie down waiting for tonight's activity, hopefully. At least 1 or 2 fish. There's no reason why I shouldn't. And, don't know, maybe a 30. There's always that greedy, I want a 30. Anyway, fingers crossed it kicks off again tonight. The air pressure is going up from when I first got here. I think it's in the teens now. It was 1,006 when I got here. I think it's sort of around the 17, 18 mark. Due to go up a bit more and then crash again for the weekend, so I think the air pressure would be perfect for the weekend, but presumably that will bring rain with it again. Anyway, I'm looking forward for another sleepless night. I don't know why they have to belt off that side all the time. It don't want to come back, does it? I'm not saying a lot because it's hard work, this. Just when you think you're making a bit, it starts ripping off again. I wish I'd kite out a bit. It's going under those bloody trees and I can't get out much further. Oh, it's picking off branches, you can feel it. Must be just on 4 o'clock, and the new right-hand rod, which was the left-hand rod, ripped off again. And that was incredibly hard fighting fish. 25 pounds and a couple of ounces. Absolutely delighted with that. But gosh, he went under that bush a couple of times and I thought she was going, but hook hold was really good when I came back. Fortunately for me. Marvellous. All right, Babs. What a peach. Happy times, eh? Right, let's get her back, eh? Well, if you cast your minds back to the last trip when I lost that fish and the lead came back on the hook, I think I said at the time it probably happened on the cast, but as I could have predicted, once I got home it was playing on my mind. And the more I thought about it, the only conclusion I could seriously come to was the fact that because I was fishing up against the island, the lead had actually rolled down the slope of the island slightly over the top of the leader and miraculously picked up the hook, even though I was using a 3-ounce flat pair. But that's about the only resolution I've come to that makes sense in my head. The other thing I wanted to mention was a couple of trips back at the Birch, I was talking to Mike Bridges from Angling Direct in Bristol, and he gave me a hand to try and sort out a problem I was having putting up my bivvy. Now it was obviously down to my weak body because I wasn't pulling it round enough. Now the last couple of trips, all I really yanked on it was trying to keep the front legs off the ground. It has gone up a lot easier, so thanks for that, Mike. It really was a helpful couple of hours that morning. Don't know if you can see that or not, but it looks like it's snowing. We've obviously got to that time of year where the willow trees are molting. Fortunately, the wind will probably take it away from where I'm fishing and it won't accumulate all over the lines. Well, it's just coming up to 6:30. And bearing in mind the last couple of evenings I've had a fish at about 9 o'clock-ish. I'm going to put in the last spod before dark, and of course it's starting to tip down with rain and the thunder is getting ridiculous. Unfortunately, that was a very, very quiet night to end with. Nothing at all, not one bleep. I did hear a few fish boshing out the top end. Now, whether anybody else had anything, I don't know. But strangely, the final night goes without any action. I don't know whether that's because more anglers have turned up and there's more bait going in. Don't know. Anyway, that's me done. I'm going to slowly start packing away. I'm going to have a couple of weeks off now, and the next time you see me will probably be from Blackthorn Fishery at the beginning of next month. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. If you have subscribed, don't forget to hit this bell icon business, and if you haven't subscribed yet, stick around for the next scene, and there are 2 active buttons on there. One you can subscribe directly to, and the other one you can connect onto previously published videos. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again soon. Cheers for now.